There's been a lot of talk about how many teams beat the Deep Stone Crypt day one, and there's been a lot of discussion about it, and I'm going to maybe bring to light some things that people might not have thought about, and just give my thoughts on it. Just a little insight here. None of the footage I'll show will have raid spoilers. You will see parts of the raid, however, but I will keep it short into the intro of the raid and part of the the transition from encounter 2 to 3, which is a spacewalk, which is just a beautiful environment. So if you don't want to watch that, maybe don't click and listen to the rest of the video, or just listen to the video and don't actually watch it, because I will be showing some of that footage. Now, going on, this discussion kind of started with this tweet that Gig spot, and I agree with most of his tweet, maybe not in such a harsh or severe environment, but he says contest mode should be the standard difficulty after 24 hours, and day one should be a bit harder. Now, from my experience, who's done almost every single day one raid in Destiny history, with the exception of 2, I missed Scourge and I missed Levy, and I think those are, Scourge is definitely one that is a huge talking point in this discussion, because people are complaining that more people cleared this raid than Scourge, and they think this raid was in fact a lot harder than Scourge. And I don't know, some people are like, since more people cleared the raid, my emblem isn't as special and it diminishes my return. And I just would like to say, someone else's accomplishment does not diminish your own. So if you cleared it on day one, congratulations. You should be happy regardless of how many other people have cleared it. Because someone else did something faster than you, or more people did it, does not take away from the fact that you were able to complete it. Now, with that being said, I do agree with Gigs in the fact that there should at least be a contest mode that is selectable. Destiny 2 raids are a slog after contest mode, as in I can show you here on my raid report. Took me roughly 11 hours with an hour and a half break in there for my team to beat the Deep Stone Crypt day one. I have since beat the full raid 4 times, each time taking about an hour to an hour and a half. Now, that being said, I was also looking for lore bits in every single one of those raids, and we did spend like 15 minutes doing the raid Sparrow Triumph and getting the first chest and switching characters to go pick it up on other characters. So realistically, I think this is about a 20-minute raid now without contest modifier. So I'm a full component for raids being harder after contest. I do think this was a fairly tuned contest mode. Now, a friend of mine, Mark, here tweeted this. This is how many people beat Deep Stone Crypt day one. 18,815 at the time of him looking this up on Braytech. Wonderful site, by the way. And this is how many teams beat Crown, and this is how many teams beat Garden on day one. 499 and 534. Now, Scourge, I do not have pictured here, but it was about 3,877 raiders beat it on day one. So when we compare that to the long, slow whisper emblem, it's about a third, roughly. So, or a fifth, I'm sorry. But that being said, I would like to bring to light as to why this may be, and just shine on light for a little bit. First, compared to the 3 other raids listed, Scourge, Crown, and Garden, Deep Stone Crypt had 1 extra full week to prepare. It was a longer time, which means more people actually will have the opportunity to find teams, grind up to power level, and prepare for the raid. So, that's the first reason. Second reason, with the exception of Garden, all of these raids, or the other raids, were done on a Tuesday with a 6-hour prep time for Crown and a 3-day prep time, roughly actually 2.5, for Scourge, as the raid was on Friday. Garden was on a Saturday. So That's also a contributing factor. I don't know a lot of people who can raid at 4 o'clock. I think it was 3 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central, and 6 o'clock Pacific on a whim on a Tuesday in order to do Crown. So first of all, you had to prep for 6 hours to be able to compete the raid, and then you had to do the raid. So you had to get, I think it was like plus 20 light, maybe 15 levels in 6 hours, do a quest, and then compete for World's First for Crown. Bad system, limited amount of people could compete. Now, Scourge. You had 3 weeks, no contest modifier. It was on a Friday. Destiny was in coming off a high from Forsaken, and this was their next raid. However, this did not have a contest modifier, and going back to the person with the previous tweet, Gigs happened to get World's First in Scourge with, I believe, a 2.5 hour clear. However, with the raid of that being 650 power level and Gigs being, I believe, 647, I might have watched the stream or saw his level, but he was definitely near the power echelon when his team got World's First, and the majority of his team was around max level. That was the reason contest modifier was introduced, because Gigs was doing the raid day one on power, essentially, where every single raid since then has had a contest modifier. So that shouldn't be something to be overlooked, as in it was easier to have closer to a power echelon for Scourge. So you're like, how does that benefit Deep Stone Crypt? Well, it doesn't, however, just a point to be noted. You're like, you're a devil advocate on yourself. But anyway, going off of that, Destiny 2 as a whole, as a game, has had a lot more power creep and has introduced a lot more powerful weapons since Scourge, as in Warmind cells. Huge thing in the raid was Warmind cells. It makes content a lot easier, and none of the other 3 raids have had the ability to produce Warmind cells. They've also had Charged with Light builds and Lucent Blade builds and availability of things that are basically power creep mechanics that were added to Destiny to change the core gameplay loop. Swords do more abilities. You pick up an orb and it can give you a protective shield. You get your grenade regen faster. Yada yada yada. I don't personally use a lot of Charged with Light builds, but there's a lot of them that are very beneficial. Now, that's another reason why more people could have cleared Deep Stone Crypt. And I'm going to try to avoid the giant elephant in the room a little bit too much and not talk about how cheaters may have affected the raid, but definitely raid leaks that were spewing probably up to a week before the raid came out about people glitching into the raid and seeing every single arena should not be overlooked. And the fact that 5 minutes into the raid, Raid Secrets had guides to every single encounter of the raid, including the final boss. People weren't even at the first encounter, and they had guides to the entire raid. That could be a reason why more people have tried to, or more people actually cleared day one Deep Stone Crypt. Now, with all that being said, I can come up with a few more reasons. Like maybe there was an influx of people coming in for Beyond Light because it's an expansion compared to Scourge, because Scourge was a seasonal raid. There's a little bit more hype behind Beyond Light. However, I don't have any numbers to support this evidence, so I'm not going to try to use that too much. But that should just be some like deductive reasoning to like think about this. Even contest mode, since Crown and Garden, was tuned down as this raid was a little bit easier in terms of add difficulty, as in my personal experience and from what I've seen on Twitter, the enemies weren't really the problem. It was more of execution was the problem. And I feel like that's something a day one raid should be, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Maybe a video for another day. But I just wanted to give my thoughts out there and maybe tone back the elitism around the day one a little bit, because I know people want their emblem to feel special and their accomplishment to feel special, but I don't think the fact that 20,000 people cleared a raid day one diminishes the fact that you beat it on day one. In my own opinion, and coming from someone who's been in a clan and has friends with numerous day one raiders and world's first raiders even, I don't think it matters after world's first how many people clear the raid or how many people have your emblem. And you should be happy that other people got their day ones clears and not gatekeep so much. That's my personal opinion. And I'm all for harder content, and I'm all for accomplishments, and I'm all for like the day one experiences, and like I beat the raid, I have this really cool thing I can show off. But I don't think it needs to go to the point that, well, only 12 people have this emblem, so like we're like, I don't want Destiny to go back to Last Wish where only 2 teams have a day one clear. I think those are just some of my thoughts on why Deep Stone Crypt had more clears on Scourge, and maybe there's a lot more other things and outside factors to think about. So maybe think on those, and maybe see if you could come up with another few reasons and put down in the comments. We could discuss about it. But I just want to bring it back, the Scourge Deep Stone Crypt argument, and like people trying to diminish others' accomplishments that I've been seeing. I think it's an okay thing, and I think you should be happy for everyone who got a day one clear. It's a huge accomplishment, and if you've got day one clear, you should be happy, because Deep Stone Crypt was probably the best day one experience that Destiny has had in a long time. So with that out there, I will probably be covering some more Deep Stone Crypt raid content and some other Destiny content, which is a little off for me considering other things that have been on my channel, but I hope you enjoy. And you're going to see a few other things, such as like Destiny 2 as a whole needs to be harder, and raids as a whole need to be harder. But if you like that, please like and subscribe, because it helps me out a great deal. And if you see other people's contents that you like, please like and subscribe to their content too, because it helps them out a great deal and it means a lot to them, I promise you. Now, with all that being said, I hope you have a great day.